All right. Good Sunday to you, Lions fans. We are back with our post draft thoughts. The 2025 draft is over, and the Lions Den is here to give our thoughts on what the Lions did in the draft. So, what I figure we'll do, son, is we will go through each pick and then we will give our thoughts on it and then give our overall thoughts on the Lions and give a grade at the end. And actually, son, as we go, we can actually give a grade on the players as well. We're going to start with, excuse me, the first round pick, Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Son, what were your thoughts on the pick?
I thought it was a pretty decent pick. I know some of us thought they possibly could go with the receiver, or I know a lot of us really wanted them to get an edge. But I do think getting another young defensive tackle could help a lot, especially because it seems like we've been doing a lot of plug and play with the guys in the middle. The last main guy that I remember, we've had good guys in the middle, but the last actual veteran that I remember us having in the middle was I forgot what his name was. We had we had a really tall guy in the middle before. Dang, I forgot his name. He had that big beard. No, okay, him too. But there was a guy after him. But yeah, I forgot about Sue. But yeah, Sue too. So yeah, it's been a while since we've had like a real nasty guy like this. It looks like he'll help out in the run game a lot. And I think he'll be good because all positions will help Hutch. So if he can absorb one or two guys, then well, that can only help us. So yeah, I think it was a pretty decent pick. I'm not gonna act. It wasn't a guy that I was looking at before the draft though.
That makes two of us. He wasn't on my board. You and I did several mock drafts. Even Mel Kiper did his grades, and he said that, he had that guy ranked at like 44th on his board. Of course, we know that could be subjective. This kid ended up being an all-pro in his second year. But I get what Kiper's saying. Kiper was like, look, I had him at 44 and the Lions took him at 28. And I thought it was better players they could have took.
Yeah.
The thing about it is this kid is not going to be Warren Sapp. I don't see that. Warren Sapp was the last defensive tackle that I remember that was like Reggie White-esque, and what I mean by that is he was like one of the last defensive tackles that was literally a pass rusher that can get to the quarterback from the defensive tackle spot. What I think is happening here is that we got to remember Alim McNeil is not going to be back until probably late November, Thanksgiving to December. So the Lions do need a defensive tackle. We still have DJ Reader, but DJ Reader, if I'm not mistaken, is 31 or 32. Owuzu and Ricky, which we talked about coming back, is huge, but I think that they want to still use him as a plug and play guy. He really is a D tackle, but they can also put him out on the edge. They're going to really move him around as like a chess piece, if you will. Broderick Martin may be on his way out. I think drafting this kid lets us know that maybe they've lost faith in Broderick Martin, our third round pick. From 2 years ago. But for what it's worth, I don't think that this was a terrible pick. There could have been something else the Lions could have did there, but I agree with you. If he can actually, take up some blocks, it will also help Hutch. Of course, a lot of people, don't necessarily want to hear that because, we all want the, a high end edge to take some of the pressure off of Hutch. So I absolutely get that. Any other thoughts? What would you give the grade on young Tyleik Williams?
Honestly, I would have to give it a B+. I know that some people thought that possibly he could have dropped, like we could have got him later, but clearly we don't understand. It's pretty clear we don't understand how the actual draft process works because talented players fall. Some talented players or some people you could say are not as talented get taken quicker. But I know we'll talk about that later. So really, it's like you don't know what these people have them graded as. Someone could have been ready to take him with the next pick, for all we know.
Exactly.
So I think it was a very good pick. I think the Lions, we had talked about this before, they're really at a point, I don't think they can make many bad picks. The team is really good. I think some of the stuff is pretty clear what we need. We knew we needed defensive help and offensive line help and receiver help. So yeah, I think it was pretty easy to make those decisions. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Let's move on to the second round. I got to give you credit for this one, son. You nailed this in our mock draft, and I'm going to be very honest. And I told you I did like 3 to 4 mock drafts. In every one of my mock drafts, except for the one you and I did, I had this kid in the second round as well. And you had him in the second round. Tate Ratledge, what do you think about this young man out of Georgia?
Yeah, like I said before, I think he's going to be very, very good. I think
Yeah.
yeah, I just think I think he's going to fit in well. I mean, they say that he's going to compete for a starting position, but I'm sure he's just going to start because what he's supposed to replace Graham Glasgow, right?
Well, right now they're predicting him to be on the right side, which is where Zeitler was. So they're
Okay.
thinking that he's really going to be competing against Mahogany and the other kid, main slips my mind, Owasada. He's going to be competing with them. I think that this kid is going to come in and start. Now, I've been
Me
looking at the
too.
film on him. I think he's going to start.
Yeah, me too. Sorry, I just heard something. Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely agree. I like his physical play style, and yeah, like I mentioned before, I like that he's part of the SEC, so we know he's going against a lot of nasty people. So
Yes, yes,
yeah,
and
he's only allowed one sack.
just looking at his highlights right here. You can see what he's doing. And the Lions. To be honest with you, our boys do need to get young on the offensive line. I was actually thinking a lot about that. Penny Sewell on the right side is 23. I want to say he's he's not even near his prime yet. And
Right.
then we have Mahogany. If Mahogany pans out, he's about 24. Let's say he's the left guard. So if you look at the rest of our offensive line, Taylor Decker is going to be 31, I think, this year. Frank Ragnow has got to be 30 or 31. Uh who am I forgetting? And then you have
Yeah, I'm not gonna act like I know.
no, that'd be it. That'd be it. Because if these two young men started guard, I mean, well, Glasgow. So that's what I was going to say. Glasgow.
Yeah.
If Glasgow starts at if Glasgow gets a starting job, he's 32 or 33. So it is time for the Lions to get young. So now that we have this kid, now you have two. If you put him in Mahogany, let's say they get the starting guard spots. At least now we'll have Ratledge, Mahogany, and Penny Sewell, all three linemen under 25.
Yep.
So I definitely I like that, and to be honest with you, I like this pick. I thought this was a good pick. It was a pick of need, and I'm glad that it is something that that the Lions went after. We knew that they would go after a guard. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I have no issue with the Lions taking this kid when they did. So what would you give that? What would you grade it?
I would have to give. Sorry, my face keeps glitching. It's kind of annoying. I would have to give that. I would have to give it an A grade or A minus, just because, like, once again, I feel like it was a pretty clear pick, and we knew that at some point in the draft that we would at least go for an lineman. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm also going to give it a solid A as well. All right, let's move on to the Lions' next pick, which was in the third round. They took Isaac Tesla, wide receiver out of Arkansas. What is your thoughts on this young 6'4", 217? And they said he ran, I want to say like 4.32 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, he's fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think we're gonna see him on the field pretty quickly. We were already saying we had agreed on the other receiver, Savion. I forgot his last name, but we agreed that we wanted a bigger receiver because we already have a smaller receiver in Amon St. Brown, and Jamison Williams is really fast. But I mean, the 6'2" is not short, but like he's not a jump ball demon. Like he's not like a Mike Evans type. So
Right.
to get this in Isaac Tesla, I think it's going to help Jared Goff quite a bit, just because now he's going to have someone that can get down the field and he can just throw it up there. Hopefully, he's that kind of guy. He's just be able to throw up there and get those jump balls. Yeah, I'm actually excited. I think he's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Big.
He's kind of like a Temu, Mike Evans, if you will.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize the kid was that fast until I read up on him yesterday, and I was like, wow, this dude is fast.
Yeah.
And now this is something interesting, son. He not only is he from Michigan, I forget what part of Michigan he's from, but not only is he from Michigan, son, but he started out at D2 Hillsdale.
Yeah, that's cool. That's wild.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool too. Like, it's he started out here, high school here, started out his college here, and then now he's coming back home to help the hometown team get better. So with that being said, now remember, the Lions at this time did not take an edge. They took this kid in the third round. What would be your grades on this Tesla pick, this wide receiver? What are your thoughts? What are your takes on this pick? Your grade, I should say. I'm sorry.
Well, if we're doing it in the moment, no, we would have to look at it in the bigger picture of things. I would have to give it a B grade because it's very clear in the 6th round that they got the guy they wanted in Ahmad. I don't know how to say his last name, but it was pretty clear to me that they actually really wanted that guy. I'm not sure if they traded up to get him or not, but I know that they said him and Dan Campbell meshed very well. So I expect to actually see him out on the field. We know the Lions are really good at finding sleepers in the draft. So I would have to give the Isaac Tesla pick a B because they possibly could have maybe went for a more talented edge, but it seems like they already knew who they wanted to get, and
Okay.
the guy they got later.
I have no issues with that at all. Speaking of trying to find sleepers, let's move on to the Lions' next pick. In the 5th round, the Lions took Miles Frazier. We took another guard out of LSU. What is your thoughts on the Lions doubling down on guards?
Yeah, I think it's just a good depth pick. I know I was looking at him at LSU. It looks like he played because he plays guard, right? Yeah, it looks like he played both sides, the left and the right side.
Okay.
So I think it's one of those guys. Like, I guess I don't know if any of these guys. No, he's obviously not going to get cut. But I don't know if any of these people have to get cut in general. But I think he actually. I don't know if he'll be a starter this year, but injuries happen. We could easily see him on the field.
Okay. What I was trying to find out about this kid, son, was did he ever play center, which I didn't see that he did. That's what I was wondering. Because I was thinking that even though he's a guard, could they be possibly looking at Frank Ragnall's replacement in a year or two?
Yeah.
And getting a young player in there, which really is time to start thinking about that. Because you really want a center, son, to be ready to go. You really don't want a center coming in fresh. Now, Frank Ragnall came in as a rookie. I still remember 2016 when we took him. I was ecstatic about that pick. He was the best center in the nation, and the Lions needed a center. And Frank Ragnall started day one and hasn't sat down since. So you think that this pick is probably more of a depth pick?
Yes, that's what I think.
Okay, more of a depth pick than anything else. Okay, well, I mean, I can live with that, because you do need depth along that line, and I do agree with you. He could end up being the kid who starts, if not in the year, maybe down the road. There's a good chance that he can move in, to that starting lineup. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of an edge, we're gonna move on to our next pick. The Lions. Also, I'm sorry, in the 6th round, Ahmad Hassanian. And I believe, son, that's how you pronounce his name. Hassanian.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on getting this guy in the 6th round? And this is a guy I thought the Lions could have taken in the 4th round. When I made a short list of guys available, I thought that he was a 4th round pick. But the Lions take him in the 6th round. What's your thought? And I went on Twitter immediately and said that, this kid to me is still more of a project, because I thought they said that he's only been playing football like 6 years.
Oh wow, see, that's wild. So what I really like about him is, I know from what I've seen, they say he's an extremely hard worker. He has a really high motor, so I can understand why Dan Campbell would like him so much. And I know you said he could be a longer term. I know the team. Yeah, he will be a longer term project. But once again, I do think that's a guy we could see on the field. I mean, we need help at end, so maybe by week 10, maybe if he's been progressing good enough, then he could potentially touch the field a few times.
Do you think he could be our Malcolm Rodriguez of 2025? Remember, we took Rodriguez in 2022 or 23, one of them years, son. I'm kind of forgetting. But remember, we got Rodriguez in the 6th round, and he ended up starting.
Yes, I do think so. If it was anybody that in the whole draft that probably has the sleeper potential, it'd probably be him. Yeah, Lions are really good at getting these sleepers. So, more so Brad Holmes, I guess, and his team. So.
Okay, I can agree with that. I can absolutely agree with that. Okay, let's move on. Now we are going to move on to the 7th round, because the Lions traded so many picks at times. It's hard to keep up with where they got some of these guys at. That's why I have to recheck my notes here and there and be like, okay, they got this kid here. So the next pick we're gonna look at is young Dan Jackson. Hold on, son, getting my screen together. We do have highlights for him as well. Safety out of Georgia, 7th round. What's your thoughts on? We talked about the Lions needed to get another safety, a number 3 safety. What's your thoughts on Dan Jackson?
That was gonna be big. Yeah, I don't know that much about him, to be honest, but it's pretty clear that he could help out on special teams, and he seems like it'll be a good depth pick. That's why I get interested with how some of these cuts could work and stuff like that, because it almost seems like it seems like the Lions pick some of these guys really strategically. I mean, like you said, we actually do need a number 3 safety. So it seems like there should be a spot for him on the team. But yeah, he seems I like him. I mean, he seems like he's a very good tackler in open field.
Yeah. He does, and I do like what you said, son. When you said that he looked like he can contribute on special teams immediately, which is something that the Lions need. What do you think about him being kind of like a Melifonwu, replacing Melifonwu?
Yeah, no, yeah, I think that could work out.
Or do you think that possibly Avonte Maddox, who we signed from the Giants, is going to be like the number 3 safety, and this kid may be a depth pick or a special teams?
See, I think he'll have a chance to compete, but I'm sure the veteran will probably have an opportunity over him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how old Maddox is. I didn't realize I picked him up.
Yeah, Maddox is. Ooh, that was a good hit right there. Maddox may be in his late 20s. He may even, he may be in his late. No, he might be a little younger than that, son. Now that I think about it, I would have to probably check and see, but he may be a little younger than that. This this Jackson kid definitely has no issue, son, coming up and making tackles. If you just saw some of his highlights right there,
Yeah.
he's okay coming up making tackles. He's not afraid to get in there and mix it up. All right, let's move on to our last pick in the draft, 7th round, another 7th round pick. The boys took another receiver, and this time that receiver is Dominic Levitt out of Georgia. What is your thoughts on Mr. Levitt, or Lovett, I should say?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really know anything about him. I just know I think he's a shorter receiver, right? It looks like he's like a shifty slot receiver type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's a bad pick at all. It's so tough because like a lot of these guys look like they're ballers, and it's like, man, yeah, this guy could definitely help out the team. But it's like, I guess we'd have to see. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think he looks pretty good. It looks like, oh, sorry, look at that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks like your runs good. Yeah, I think it's a good depth pick for a slot. But I don't know I don't know if he'll actually touch the field or not. I don't know how many receivers we have right now.
That brings the number up. Yeah, so yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it was a pick, probably a pick that you just can't really complain about. Just it is what it is type of pick. If you will, but a depth pick, okay, that is cool. So before we give our overall, I'm gonna stop that right there. Before we give our overall thoughts on it, let's run over UDFAs real quick. I have the live tracker in front of me, son. I'll tell you who the Lions have so far. Offensive lineman Mason Miller out of North Dakota State. Wide receiver Jackson Meeks out of Syracuse. Tight end Caden Priestcorn out of Ole Miss. Running back Anthony Tyus III out of Ohio. Linebacker Keith Cooper Jr. out of Houston. And wide receiver Jacoby Keenan James out of UMass. I'll be honest with you. Out of these guys I just named, I only know 2 of them. That I can speak on UDFAs. I know Tyus out of Ohio by way of Northwestern, by way of Portage Central, a kid that I saw you play against from 7th grade through 12th grade. And I know Priestcorn. He's a Michigan kid, even though he went to Ole Miss. He's from Michigan. He's like 6'5", 256. He's not a fast tight end. He's more of a blocking tight end, but the kid's hands, I mean, the kid, he doesn't drop anything. When the ball goes towards him, he catches. So those guys I know. The rest of the UDFAs, I don't know. Any thoughts on the UDFAs?
No. Yeah, it's good luck.
Yep. I agree with you. Well, I should have put this on the screen. Yeah, good luck to him. Yep, and let's just see, what happens. A lot of some teams bring in up to 15 UDFAs because really they're just doing rookie mini camps right now, and some of these guys won't make it past 2 weeks. But we always give good luck to everybody, and let's see what happens. Before we get out of here, son. Before we get to our last topic, what is your overall grade for the Lions in this draft from first round to UDFAs?
I would give him a B+ for the whole draft. I thought the whole draft. Yeah, I thought the whole draft was pretty solid. I mean, they didn't make any sexy picks, like anything crazy, but it's not like they particularly needed to. When you're starting to become a championship team, it's not like they needed to trade up. Not like they're going to trade to get Travis Hunter or something like that. So
right. Okay, all right, cool. I will give them a solid B. I'll give them a solid B. There were some players that I had written down that I said, okay, they can get this guy, but they didn't. To be honest, out of all the picks, I do like the Tate Ratledge pick the most. I do think that he's going to start immediately. And the other guys, I guess, we'll see what happens if Hassanian can contribute and even be a situational pass rusher until he gets up to speed. I love it because I did have him on my short list past round 3. He was on my short list of guys the Lions could get. So I guess we will see what happens. Last thing we want to talk about, son, is that, I've never made it a secret that my favorite football player is Deion Primetime Sanders. His son, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson State, Colorado quarterback, did not go into the 5th round. Now, most people thought he wouldn't go into the early 2nd round, to be honest, because most people kind of thought out he's either going to go somewhere between pick 9 in the 1st round to the 2nd round, but he didn't go into the 5th round, son, and he was the 2nd quarterback the Browns took. Give me your thoughts on young Shedeur Sanders fall into the 5th round.
I mean, see, I kind of disagree with people talking about early in the 2nd round, because my theory about it was the second he fell out of that like top 7-ish range or wherever the teams that actually need a quarterback. So I guess you just got to be realistic. Mm-hmm. Okay, no, none of those other teams need a quarterback. So my thing, the real question is, it's why did he not go in the well, I'm not actually wondering why, but I guess the rhetorical question would be like, okay, it's not why did he go in the 5th, it's why didn't he go in the 1st? Because I mean, once you don't go in the 1st, it's pretty much over for a quarterback anyways. I mean, I feel like teams will just keep passing you. I don't know. It's tough for me to say that, because a lot of people are saying that, it's because they're trying to get their lick back because Deion was cocky or because of this and that. But guys, I'm sorry, none of that stuff really makes any sense.
It doesn't.
The truth is, it had to have been that they obviously must have just somehow didn't think. It had to have been the mix of the celebrity is bigger than. It's kind of like Odell Beckham. Like the celebrity was bigger than him. I don't know how to put that in words. His celebrity is bigger than how good he actually is. So him going to a team, all eyes are going to be on him regardless. So if a team actually doesn't feel like he's ready to play, people are going to be wondering what's going on. And then when the first string quarterback isn't doing good, maybe they're not trying to deal with all that.
Right.
That's the only thing I can think of, is somehow they just didn't think he was that not good enough, because there's no way they would wanted to make a point that bad to him. But maybe they did. Maybe they did want to make a point though, but I could be tripping. But I can't see it though.
Man, this is a business. I don't see a team. I don't see 32 teams that said this kid is a franchise quarterback, but to get back at his dad, we're not going to take him. He's a franchise quarterback
because he's cocky.
He can be Jaden Daniels. He can be Bo Nix, but we're not going to take him because we want to get a lick back. We're going to pass up on a franchise generational talent because of lick back. What I think happened was this, son. I think that the fact that he didn't do anything at the combine. They said he didn't participate at the combine.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, and then there were people who said he didn't interview well. I think that's what the problem was, and I do think that, unfortunately, I love me some Prime, but I think Deion going on that show saying that, oh no, there are certain teams, if they call, I don't want my son to play for them. I'm not going to say who they are, but if they call, I don't want him going there, and I'm going to tell my son, nah, you're not going there.
Yeah, they said, all right, bet. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But what do you think about Cleveland, though, son, taking him? They already took Gillian Gabriel out of Oregon in the 3rd round.
Either
rookie quarterbacks.
I mean, that's why it's confusing. I don't, because he has to be better than Dylan Gabriel. That's why something weird had that going. I mean, obviously they're going to trade. They're going to trade one of those people, though. So that's what's going to happen. Either because Sanders will play in the NFL, because someone made that take. But they're either going to trade Sanders for something, or they're just going to trade Gabriel. There's no way they keep 5 quarterbacks, though.
No, exactly. And we know, to be honest, that Deshaun Watson's days are numbered. He's not going to play this year because he's hurt. I think they're just waiting for his contract to run out, and so they can let him go. So he's gone. So they literally have Joe Flacco, who's 39. They have the kid from UCLA, Dorian Thompson Robinson. Is that his name?
They have a ton of quarterbacks. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Who will be going into his 2nd year. Now you have Gabriel's. Now you have Shedeur, and there might be somebody else I'm forgetting. So, son, I never thought about that. What you just said made a lot of sense. Some people said that the only reason the Browns took him is because the Steelers were finally going to pull the plug in the 5th round on him. And the Browns said, no, you're not. So maybe the Browns are going to hold him hostage.
Yeah.
Or one of them. They might hold one of those quarterbacks hostage and say, hey, anybody looking for a young backup quarterback, we got him. It's going to cost you a 2nd or maybe not 2nd, a 3rd round pick or whatever. My feeling is that if Shedeur puts his head down and goes to work and shuts his mouth, I think that he might end up actually playing for Cleveland this year. That's what I'm honestly thinking.
Oh, for real? Okay, yeah.
Yep. If he just shuts his mouth, goes to work, and I know a lot of people said he's cocky. Son, maybe I'm missing something. I watched a lot of Colorado games because of my man Prime. Maybe I'm missing something. I, I mean, he's a little cocky, but like, I think people are upset because they're saying he's not his dad. His dad could literally back up the talk that he did.
Right.
Shedeur has not won any big games in college, not at Colorado or Jackson State. And I
Yeah.
think that he had that big chain on. I think that rubbed people the wrong way. He made him look like
Yeah.
more like a wide receiver.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but my thing is, I don't think it doesn't matter though. Like, because like Travis Hunter could have been doing all that. It doesn't matter. He still was going top 5, bro. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he messed up. Shedeur, yeah, you're right. Shedeur messed up by not being. I guess some people don't see it, but like Cam Ward was so smart. Shedeur is so stupid talking about, man, we should make a song together, man. Like, bro, Cam Ward was like, bro, I play football. Like, did you not see that? Like, what?
Yeah, I did.
What are you
I
talking
did.
about?
Yeah. Yeah. And it tells people that he's not focused on his craft, which he should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm 100% with you on that. I think that it had to be something like that. I'm really pulling for him. No, I hope that he shows that he really is a good quarterback and a good football player. And I hope that he does improve everybody right and bums it up and they go, see, told you. That's why he won the first round. And I think that Johnny Manziel probably also hurt Shedeur, to be honest with you. Johnny Manziel squeaked out in the first round, and he really is another version of Johnny Manziel.
Well, oh wait, why do you say that? Because like how he plays?
Because of the flashiness. Because Johnny Manziel was very flashy with the money signs and flashing his money on the screen. And you know what? I got so much money, I can't hear you. I got a money phone. I never would have drafted Johnny Manziel just because of that.
Wait, so he slid?
Johnny Manziel actually went in the first round.
Wait, when did he go actually?
Like the 25th, 27th pick, something like
that. So they don't play around with that kind of stuff. They don't care. So that guy's right there. Nobody's better because he was 5 times better than Shedeur in college. Johnny Manziel's probably one of the best.
A lot of people said that too, son. A lot of people online said y'all better put some respect on Manziel's name. In college, he was the dude.
No, yeah, he's one of the best college football players I've seen in my life.
And he did win some big games in college, to be real. Manziel did.
He was for the double Heisman.
He just wasn't probably ever going to be a good pro, but when it came to college, he was the dude, But I don't know. That's my thoughts on Shedeur. Hopefully, it does bounce. Hopefully, this doesn't crush his ego because he is young. Hopefully, he takes it all in stride. I mean, if you saw him and his brothers dancing when he got picked, I mean, they still look like they were in good spirits. I thought he was going to be looking sad and down, but he wasn't.
Nah, yeah, and he already said he's not doing no more rapping. I think his brothers asked him that on purpose. He was like, "When we making this next song?"
I think he's done with that. And props to Shiloh too for kind of taking some of the heat off his brother. Shiloh was making jokes and was like, "Bro, if they not taking you, just imagine what they gonna do to me." I think he was trying to lighten his brother's mood.
Yeah, Shiloh got picked up because his name. That's crazy.
He did. He got picked up by the Buccaneers. But real quick, a lot of Buccaneers fans are like, "Yeah, I'm telling y'all, Shiloh gonna make the team. Shiloh's that dog," and I was like, "Well, okay."
I was like, all right,
so I'll say so.
Literally, he's ranked lower than Stevie Douglas. I'm not even being biased, but like when I saw that, I was like, "What the heck?" I mean, I guess that's just one.
My man Emery did have him ranked lower,
yeah.
But who knows? I don't know. Maybe Shiloh will make it. Maybe he'll make it to the OTAs and minicamp and the preseason and show out. I don't see it, but I mean, you never know, man. Maybe he could. But guess what? Good luck to him. Good luck with the opportunity, and good luck to all the kids. And I guess that's it, son. We almost at the 30-minute mark. We went over a little bit because we did want to talk about Shedeur. So anything else for our Lions or in the draft in general?
No, I'm just ready for the season. Well, actually, it's gonna be here soon enough. But yeah.
Well, I guess the next big thing that we'll talk about, son, in a couple of weeks will be the schedule will be out. I think it's said March 10th or 11th or something. May 10th or 11th or something like that. The schedule will be out, and at least we can see, what primetime games the Lions have. The only thing I know so far is the Lions are playing in that early preseason game, the Hall of Fame game against the Chargers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're playing the Hall of Fame game, which is in Canton.
Yeah,
weekend of the Hall of Fame. So that's the only thing I do know.
Okay, that's dope.
Yep. So yeah, that's cool. So all right, man. Hey, if that's it, son. As always, people over on YouTube, give us a like, comment, subscribe over there if you haven't already. If you look under my name, you can see our Twitter/X page. Go over there and give us a follow if you haven't. And under my son's name, you see the TikTok page. Go over there and give us a follow as well. All right, Lions fans, that's it. Give us your thoughts on the draft. Where did you grade each pick, and where did you grade the Lions overall? That's all we have until next time. Peace.
Peace.